This story contains sensitive themes and is presented strictly for educational and documentary purposes.
Your mom's dead.
Wait, what?
She's deceased, all right? Now, what I want to ask you, did you have involvement in this?
For many years, the world believed it was witnessing a story of devotion. A mother who appeared to sacrifice everything. A daughter who seemed fragile, dependent, and permanently ill. A life shaped by medical diagnoses. Or at least by what everyone was told were diagnoses. From the outside, nothing about the Blanchard household raised immediate suspicion. Neighbors saw a young girl confined to a wheelchair. They saw medical equipment. They heard stories of rare illnesses and constant pain. Doctors listened as symptoms were carefully explained. Charities stepped in, believing they were helping a family trapped in endless tragedy. Support poured in from people who never imagined they were being misled. To the public, Gypsy Rose Blanchard was not just sick, she was helpless. At the center of her world stood her mother, Claudine Dee Dee Blanchard. Dee Dee appeared tireless. She attended every appointment. She managed every medication. She spoke before Gypsy ever had the chance to answer. To doctors, she seemed knowledgeable. To charities, she appeared grateful. To neighbors, she was admired. She was seen as a mother who had given up her own life to care for a child who might not survive. But admiration can be dangerous when it replaces scrutiny. Behind closed doors, a different reality was slowly taking shape. Medical records rarely aligned. Diagnoses changed depending on the doctor. Symptoms evolved without explanation. Treatments were started, then abandoned. Gypsy was subjected to procedures she did not need, medications she did not require, restrictions that had no medical justification. Yet no single doctor ever saw the entire picture. Each specialist saw only a fragment, and fragments alone rarely trigger alarms. Gypsy was raised to believe her body was weak. She was told her health could collapse at any moment, that walking was dangerous, that independence could kill her. She was taught that obedience was survival. She was not allowed to leave the house alone. She had no meaningful friendships without supervision. She had no private conversations. Every aspect of her life passed through her mother. Experts would later describe this environment as a severe form of medical and psychological abuse, a situation in which illness is exaggerated or fabricated to maintain absolute control. But at the time, there was no spotlight, no investigation, no intervention. Gypsy grew older, but her life did not expand. Physically, she matured. Mentally, she questioned. Emotionally, she remained trapped. She learned to perform illness. She learned to remain silent. She learned that resistance only brought punishment. Quietly, something began to change. Through the internet, Gypsy discovered something she had never experienced before: choice. Online, she could speak freely. She could express thoughts without interruption. She could imagine a life not defined by medical charts. For the first time, she controlled her own voice. That's when she met Nicholas Gaudajon. Their conversations began simply, messages between strangers. But over time, those conversations deepened. Gypsy spoke about fear, about isolation, about wanting to escape a life she believed she could never survive alone. Nicholas listened. He validated her feelings. He became emotionally invested. He became part of her imagined future. According to court records, what followed was not a sudden decision, but a gradual shift. Fantasy blended with desperation. Dependence replaced logic. Hope became entangled with violence. The idea of freedom slowly became inseparable from the idea of removal. Inside the same house that once symbolized protection, a crime took place that would shock the world. After the murder, strange online posts appeared. Authorities were alerted. When police entered the Blanchard home, they didn't just discover a crime scene. They uncovered the collapse of a narrative that had existed for years. Gypsy stood up. She walked. She spoke clearly. Many of the illnesses that had defined her life were revealed to have never existed. The story the world believed fell apart overnight. The question was no longer what happened. It became how.
Did Gypsy know that you were going to kill her mother?
Honestly, she asked me to.
Okay.
Because she felt it was her only way to be with me.
How does someone raised under absolute control understand responsibility? How does prolonged psychological abuse reshape moral judgment? And where does agency truly begin? In court, the answers divided. Nicholas Godejohn was sentenced to life in prison for his role in the crime. Gypsy Rose accepted responsibility for her involvement and received a reduced sentence, taking into account years of documented abuse. She served her time. She was released under supervision. But public debate never ended. Some saw only a victim. Others saw manipulation. Many struggled to reconcile both. Years later, in early 2026, more than 100 previously unseen videos were made public. These were not interviews, not courtroom footage, not media appearances. They were private recordings, moments never meant to be shared. Because of their sensitive nature, these videos are not shown, they are analyzed. What stands out is not a single moment, but repetition, patterns of speech, dynamics of control, expressions of emotional dependency, themes that did not appear suddenly. They formed slowly, over time. The videos reignited global debate. How many warning signs were missed? Could intervention have changed the outcome? Did the system fail? Or did society choose not to look? These recordings do not change the facts of the case, but they deepen the complexity. They force uncomfortable questions.
Some stories don't remain alive because of what happened, but because of the questions they leave behind. This was Mr. Morgan's True Crimes, the stories behind the crimes the world couldn't forget.